Greetings Exiles, I'm CodRayZeal, and joining me today as always are Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III and Frank. And today we're going to be dealing with the Blood Magic Life Armour Modular Dark Pact Totem Ascendant again. And this time we're going to be going over Endgame gear. Just going to go over the gear changes and some pointers for upgrading to the final parts of the build. We'll be covering a 6th link, the Tukohama's Fortress Shield, and also what we're going to do about curses. So let's start with upgrading to a 6th link. Right now in our 5 link we have Dark Pact, Void Manipulation, Controlled Destruction, Added Chaos Damage, and Faster Casting. In a 6th link, the first thing we'll be doing is removing Faster Casting and replacing it with Poison. And then for the 6th link, we will be using Vile Toxins. Vile Toxins will increase the damage that our poison deals, as well as increasing our damage per hit depending on how many poisons are on an enemy. And they stack up pretty fast with 4 totems. So that means that your final 6th link would be Dark Pact, Void Manipulation, Controlled Destruction, Added Chaos Damage, Poison, and Vile Toxins. This is overall an incredible boost to dealing with bosses, and it's highly recommended before you start taking on the stronger endgame bosses. So next let's go over our shield. Right now we have a Lionized Remorse, hopefully. What we'll be doing is replacing that with the Tukohama's Fortress. Now Tukohama's Fortress gives us an additional totem. It increases our damage with a small increased totem damage boost on the shield. However, it does force blood magic, which in some builds might be an issue, but for us we're already using blood magic, so it's no big deal. And lastly, it gives us additional armor per totem instead of just giving it to us all outright at the beginning. So this is worth noting, and it's probably a good idea to socket in a Searing Bond gem, since this can be used as an additional totem. With that said, the way that I obtained my Tukohama's Fortress was by using the Ancient Orb on Tower Shield type uniques, such as Tidicus Span, Arn's Heritage, Chernobog's Pillar, stopping on Light Coast today because it was a pretty valuable unique at the time, so it allowed me to recoup some of my Ancient Orb costs, and also stopping on Lionized Remorse if it was an upgrade for my current shield, eventually ending with Tukohama's Fortress. Now, what's worth noting about this Ancient Orb method is it can be inconsistent. And like trying to get a 6th link, some people will never get it, some people will get it right away. So it's really up to you whether you want to spend the 400 odd chaos to buy the shield outright, or if you'd rather do it this way in a sort of step-by-step way. Overall, this upgrade is highly recommended as it adds that additional totem and allows us to kill the endgame bosses a lot faster and easier. In some circumstances, you may even switch out the Molten Shell in your Wither cast while channeling setup and use the 4th totem as a Wither totem. This will result in more net damage if you're unable to channel Wither yourself. Lastly, we have a quality of life upgrade, and this is gloves with curse enemies with level 12 temporal chains on hit. Now I picked up this pair of gloves you see for about 25 chaos, which was pretty much a bargain. And I would recommend just life, resists, and temp chains on hit. Now as you may have noticed in the previous video, we didn't really put anything interesting in our gloves aside from the clarity gem. And now you know why. Because we can deal with a 1 socket here. We don't need the enfeeble setup. That's not really contributing that much to the build. And if necessary, we can go with a 1 blue socket. With all that said, let's have a look at how our final gem setup changes. First off, we swap out the 6 link with poison and vile toxins, removing faster casting. Next, what we want to do is remove temporal chains from our cast while channeling setup. This happens when we get our curse on hit gloves. What we're going to do then is replace that gem with lightning golem, and replace lightning golem with searing bond. We're then going to remove minion life altogether for increased duration, and minion and totem elemental resistance can just stay there because it makes the totem a little tougher and also increases its damage. Not that searing bond does much damage in our build anyway. And that is about all for the gem changes. So as you can see, this build is quite modular and doesn't require you to swap a lot of things around when changing setups. The passive tree also stays identical. The only thing that really changes are the shield, the extra link, and the gloves. Now let's go over the content that I've cleared with this build in its endgame state. Firstly, the Guardians were absolutely no problem at all, so feel free to farm those up for the challenge or just for fun. Next, the Shaper. The Shaper was a little bit difficult, but I feel like this is due to my own lack of experience rather than the build's capability to do it. I was able to complete most of the runs I did with an average of about 2 deaths. Uberatsuri was relatively easy. All it required was a little bit more concentration and to be a little bit careful during the yellow Stormcall phase because you are hitting her with temporal chains and there's a bit of a bug going on there. The Eternal Labyrinth, I've farmed this regularly. The build is fast enough with the Lightning Warp enchant and strong enough to take out any form of Vizara. The only thing that varies is whether or not you can get hit, which most of the time you can. Double elemental days and things are a little bit iffy. In addition, the Bloodgrip amulet that we're wearing allows us to pass through traps with relative ease and pretty much just ignore them. I've been able to complete all the map mods, 8 mob maps, pretty much everything I came across. The build is capable of it. The only thing that differs on map difficulty is whether or not you need to be behind your totems or in front of them. I've tried and completed pretty much all of the unique maps, and none of them presented particularly high challenges. And lastly, while doing Leo dailies, I was able to complete the PvP challenges, killing some of the more difficult block-based PvP characters that are hanging around in San Arena these days, and also being able to complete 2 of the 3 Hall of Grandmasters I tried. The Lightning Arrow characters in there can get a bit difficult later on because they stand very far back when they fire at you. I did bring in a 2-link Scorching Ray and Spell Totem setup just to take care of the CI characters, which worked really well. So as long as you bring in that 2-link Scorching Ray, you have a good chance of completing your Hall of the Grandmasters. And that is the endgame version of the build in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. And that is it. So from myself, Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III, and Frank, we'd like to say good luck and stay juicy. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button, and if you have some friends who would like to benefit from this content, then share this video with them. And lastly, if you really like the style of content on this channel, do hit that subscribe button.